in a moment. I think, again, I'll assume that you can look at the bios in the record so that we can go right to it. Benson, Wong will go first, and he's from here, Baptist University. And then I don't know if Anthony will show up to be second or not, but otherwise Samson here from Lingnan University will be the other speaker. So without further ado, we're going to have these PowerPoints, and very good. Benson, please.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Benson Wong from Hong Kong Baptist University Government International Studies Department. Today, I would like to share with you about the topic in light of local and national identity that relate to a term called New Hong Kong people. Or even I want to make the topic a little bit attractive, so I adopt a pinyin version, 先三感觉. Okay, or you can do it short form. SXGR, but I still do 先三感觉 much more fluent in presentations. And the second thing is that, how long of my presentation?
20 minutes.
Good.
For each speaker.
Yeah. The second thing is that, because this is a kind of methodology that I use to study cultural politics, and one critical concern is that I want to know more about the meaning of how that meaning construction project is enforced or is in shaping in the process of the political development, political process of Hong Kong. So that's the reason why descriptive reconstruction or descriptive construction of Chinese Hong Kong or Hong Kong Chinese. It can provide us in other dimensions of understanding Hong Kong society, Hong Kong politics, or even Hong Kong studies as well. So I don't know how do I actually operate here.
Oh, here it is.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. Good. In order to let us know more about how discourse analysis is to be used in understanding cultural politics, so here I just only recap the key points, especially that couldn't go from N 2013, her article which is related to how discourse analysis is to be used. Especially I want to highlight several, three points here. The first one is wanted to know about the role of language. In the past, we actually focus more about the empirical studies, institutions, or behavioral studies of how politics is to be shaping. But I look at language has its own positions in understanding politics. Especially right now, I try to integrate language, discourse, and image visual data together. In matching two things together, I want to know how the meaning is to be generated and why they generate the meaning in this manner. That's what I love to study in this way. And another thing is, during the process of studying the discourse analysis, I want to know more about how the hidden meaning or hidden ideas are to be explored, presented, or even how that the possible consequence or even impact brought by the hidden meanings. So to me, you can see that, especially the New Hong Kong people, this is not a homogeneous concept that I will propose my key argument later on. And the second one is a number of interesting cultural or even themes to be generated by studying, the newspaper clippings from mainstream media in Hong Kong, especially those mainstream media, they may like to present Xin Sangai in very different ways. By a little review, I just only briefly highlight one of them, maybe the Thai professor from City University in Department of English, John Farthams, that talk about how that especially describe constructions of a new Hong Kong identity. Of course, his study is has been about maybe 15 or 20 years ago, that maybe 15 years ago, that it kind of very different in terms of political atmosphere of Hong Kong, especially in 1999. The case actually is focused on white to above case of the mainland in 1999. During that time, the social atmosphere is about the so-called, using the term that for my presentation, New Hong Kong is totally different. So actually they adopt this kind of ways or methods of achieving the purpose that is embracing the majority growth and discrediting the minority growth that using in different ways. I would like to propose 4 research questions. But of course, because this is an ongoing project, and so the question will be rephrased or even try to shape in different ways. But at least I want to cover these 4 areas for study, like how Xinjiang or New Hong Kong come into being, and also the meaning of Xinjiang to be constructed. In the forthcoming presentation, in the forthcoming part, actually I will focus more about that term is not new. That term actually has appeared in 2007 in relation to Donald Trump's policy address. That 2007 is really meaningful because this is the first decade of Hong Kong's returning to China. The intention of those meaning construction projects, what the purpose behind that project, especially after the policy address delivered by Donald Trump, and also there were a number of newspapers, media reporting, commentaries about that term and what the purpose of the meaning construction project. And how, of course, trying to link up with today's topic, identity politics, how that identity politics is to be presented, is to be represented during that discrete construction project. A little bit reporting to you about the research methods, data dimension analysis that we're focusing on the newspaper clippings from 2013 to 2017. And especially I use Westbooks to collect the data and focusing on the reporting having a term New Hong Kongers. But of course, some of the newspaper clippings, like some of them, they just only highlight New Hong Kongers without further elaboration, further explaining, further reporting, further developing the ideas. So I would like to choose those texts with the meaningful, intentional, and contextual discussion for the term. Because they provide us the data, the literation for me to understand and tie the context of how New Hong Kong, how that person is to be told that term, and in what circumstances that this term is to be delivered, and what are the purpose that term is to be delivered in this manner. That's what I want to see. And the last 3 points actually is kind of process of structuring my idea, like categorizations. These really tentative ways of categorization, immigrant, local people, or property. Maybe it will take adjustment later on. Contextualizations. I want to see, one of the examples is when some of the provincial newspapers talk about the Hong Kong Xinjiang. They usually love to create a wonderful story, a beautiful story about the history of striving for success for those role models as New Hong Kongers. And then behind the story, they will say, as a New Hong Konger, I come from Wong 10 years ago. I'm actually an elite in the public examinations, got a very colorful results, so that I was able to come to Hong Kong, further my career. I'm now a CEO, and one of the kinds of story is to be told, is to be chosen as a topic, is to be told, and what's the purpose of telling this kind of story. And in other words, actually behind the story, there's a hidden meaning, like our relationship, inclusion, exclusion, or metaphors being used. If we try to trace back the backgrounds of New Hong Kongers, this is a Donald Trump's policy address in 2007. At the very beginning, when we talk about New Hong Kong, this is not related to new immigrants or immigrants from mainland China. It's when we talk about Hong Kong people. When we talk about Hong Kong people, they will say, well, Hong Kong had returned to motherland for 10 years. This is time for us to refresh our own identities in light of new opportunities. So you can say over the past year, the China opportunity 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And because we want to grab the opportunities, like China rise since 2000s, economic miracles of China. So Hong Kong people should address themselves to be a new Hongkongers, to try to grab the opportunity to develop Hong Kong further. So, for the new Hong Konger, this is not, in the context of Donaldism, it's not about new immigrants from mainland China. We call about us, Hong Kong people. We have to grab opportunities. We have to acknowledge that kind of opportunities provided by many authorities. We have to change our identity in an instrumental manner. Why instrumental manner? Because China is a miracle place for getting rich, miracle place for further our career. So we should switch our identity as a new Hong Konger, grab opportunities, and Hong Kong in this context would be redeveloped again, would be revitalized again. So all of the kinds of thinking is really calculative or instrumental considerations. So I will come up with an analysis and say, oh, Hong Kong people is tricky, calculative, and interest-driven. This is also very interesting to see. At the same time, 2008, I would like to introduce you a guy, maybe some of the young people don't know, but the old people like me know, Ye Guo Hua. Almost at the same time, he published a book named entitled New Hong Kongers, Xin San Ge. I'm interested, especially I want to focus a little bit more apart from classical discourse analysis. Visual analysis would be another area for studying, like the cover page of this book. The picture is to be chosen deliberately. Okay, choosing pictures would be a very meaningful, intentional process of publishing a book. What kinds of picture you choose? Why you choose this kind of picture? What kind of method that you want to deliver to the potential audience, the potential readers? That I try to make analysis in light of the pictures, like why usually the very first thing say when understanding Hong Kong, I say people have no idea of Hong Kong. The first thing is Victoria Harbour. For the Victoria Harbour, they will focus on Central District Park, not Tsim Sha Tsui Park. For the Central District Park, they will highlight two buildings, that of China, and also another being towards one building that has a symbolic meanings of economic prosperity of Hong Kong. And some of the pictures actually relate to the mass campaigns, maybe relate to Olympic Games, maybe relate to the people joined together. This provides us an impression or even perception that people are really happy together in relation to the moment, occasions, to be a new Hong Kongers or to be a part of China. That the picture will be really meaningful as a result. So I would like to say the e-commerce books, especially the book, the title page actually is quite consistent with what Donaldson's assumptions about the meaning of the Hong Kongers. So of course you understand in 2007 and 2008 are 2 years that will be very significant for China and Hong Kong. Of course, for the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, or at the same time, and before the Olympic Games, of course, there's a big tragedy, Sichuan earthquake. If you still recall during that time, the people, especially those probation elites, they will remind us that Hong Kong has returned to China for 10 years, so it's time for us to refresh our own identities. But during that time, my observation is we still can retain in some way of local identity or Hong Kong identity. I don't use standard identity or Hong Kong identity. Maybe I use Hong Kong is China, using the present day mark. Not really related to the new immigrant desires. However, in 2013, they come up with a kind of change in terms of the discourse of new Xin San Ge or new Hong Kongers. If you still remember, maybe you know about the background. Since 2011, 13, there is a surge of the campaigns focusing on mainland visitors, okay. First, mainland visitors, their home's behavior or conduct in public areas, that people share the pictures, even the video about what they have done something really wrong, morally wrong over the public areas. And during that time, the social atmosphere of Hong Kong at that moment is the kind of I don't use the term anti-Chinese, but at least the attitudes towards mainland, regardless visitor or even at the university as a deal with, or even facing the mainland student, I could be feeling the change of the feelings or even atmosphere towards the mainland. So in light of this background, people, during that time, people say actually there is a reporting covering a certain portion about Hong Kongese new Hong Kong people. By studying the case very critically or analytically, they would like to highlight several key points. I don't read word by words, but I want to cover or recap with the several observations. They want to highlight Hong Kong actually is a immigrant society. So accepting the mainland will not be something new, looking back in the past. Second, of course, they will also link up with the China as an economic miracle discourse, that accepting new immigrants to be a part of Hong Kong. And also, one important point to highlight is, especially carry that remark, they become the new elites in society. In the past, when we talk about new Hong Kongers, or even we talk about new immigrants from mainland China, we will tend to perceive their image is not like when I was young, I watched TV drama. There is a really outstanding image called our child, okay? But right now, our child image was no longer exist. Instead, we do have a new elite with high educational level, receiving education in Hong Kong, by getting a really excellent academic result, and then they enter to the professions, getting the high positions, and then they have become a new elite in society. And actually, that we might actually try to remind firmly of Hong Kong people, local people, that we now have a new elite appear in forming in Hong Kong from mainland China. Hong Kong people, you should look about that kind of change. You have to make choice or decision of what's going on in Hong Kong. Over the same task of reporting, there's a different version of People Daily. And one interesting observation is, for this version, you will read about there is a part focusing on Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau news. And you can see one very beautiful lady, Tang Wei, okay. Why Tang Wei is to be chosen as a choosing this picture is not accidental, Choosing this picture is intentional. Why? Because she is a role model of Sin San Yin, based on appearance and beautiful competence. Especially, I recall that Tang Wei is a failed mainland artist in Hong Kong that have a certain movie where Tony learned and survived several years ago that demonstrate that she is a really excellent artist. Popularity, everyone knows about Tang Wei, okay. Position, okay, as a, not only about the artist, but also a star in the film industry and contributions. When we talk about Tang Wei, the story behind Tang Wei actually talk about, they want to highlight Tang Wei is a new Sin San Yin. But that new Sin San Yin, Hong Kong identity is not local or Hong Kong identity, but Chinese identity. Chinese identity. That new Hong Kongers, or even Sin San Yin, actually contribute Hong Kong very much. by conducting some very basic data analysis about the text. Okay, I quickly go through the data. The thing number one, as a power foundation of probation course, that you can see the text from Wen Bao in this year, talking about how do Hongkongers are to be imposed, are to be positioned in various key positions of the society, and making connection with mainland China, that come up with a thing that, okay, they are supposed to be a very important power foundations in Hong Kong. Second, a representation of most capable group of people in society that come up with is quite alike, or even in connection with public story. Usually they would create story in this manner. Like the example that I use taken from Sun Tao Dai about the story of Jack. Good student, excellent student, professional, and also elite. They contribute a lot to Hong Kong. So that discursive effect is to be generated. I still remember that 5 years ago, I read an article talking about competitiveness of local university students. They actually used the similar ways of why did they drop paying competitiveness of Hong Kong university students. One of the reasons because of many students, they come to Hong Kong for studying, they forming as a kind of critical group of the local society and putting a pressure, imposing pressure over the local university students. It's similar kinds of discourse to be recorded again here. Domestic troubles, of course, there's some kinds of negative remarks, regardless a hygienic issue or even corruption about it. Of course, for this kind of discourse, it's quite common to see that they wanted to highlight at the same time the contrasting observation between Hong Kong people and Chinese. Fourth, as a symbol of synthesizing Hong Kong, especially those posts, some of them actually relate to contemporary newspaper like Apple Diaries, talking about the invasions. Or even though the Hong Kong Economic Journal, there's still some radical voice about, this is a project, this is a political project trying to get eliminations of Hong Kong people, and also wanted to achieve the unification of China. Lastly, as a departure from the old Hong Kong, that focusing on the new Hong Kong is supposed to, in the position or in the situation that Hong Kong under China rule, and Hong Kong has become a master of their own and contributed to that try to create a kind of a false consciousness. My tentative concluding remark, given the time limit, is that you can see that new Hong Kong people or Xinjiang, at the very beginning we think about, this is a concept that there's a group of people, new Hong Kong people, old Hong Kong people, and because I know that the two presenters still, one of them is still coming, so I can occupy the time. They're still coming, they new Hong Kong people. So this is concept trying actually aimed at the old Hong Kong people, but this is not the case. By conducting this kind of analysis, Xinjiang is still not a homogeneous concept, but it's a heterogeneous concept, and it in some way is a context in one that when we talk about new Hong Kong people or Xinjiang, the definition is not fixed, it's flexible. And also the second observation is when we talk about new, the new can be defined in different ways. I would say it's an ambiguous concept or sometimes misleading, like we talk about New China. I'm really surprised why we call it New China, but after 1949, China seems to be getting much more traditional in political mentality, why this is called New China. Or what about new Hong Kong people, especially despite the Hong Kong people home status or even identity after 1997. So I would say, well, whether this new is really new. And how to define Hong Kong? When we talk about Xinjiang in one aspect, we talk about they're able to attain a higher social status or even wanted to maintain, or they contribute a lot to the local economy. We talk about economic Hong Kong, competitiveness, or even the economic strength, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes we talk about the little Hong Kong, that democracy, freedom, or even the survival of Hong Kong is in factoring. So that new Hong Kong people see China is not good. Or some of the observations from the textual analysis about some data that relate to social culture Hong Kong, the example about corruption boundary, or even hygienic issue is related to social culture Hong Kong. And as an ongoing project, I want to focus a little more in two areas, or two things: power of visual data in reproducing sea cycling, especially these two pictures. The left-hand picture, actually, some people say, do you think the next sea cycling, New Hong Kong people, do actually have a ID card for the convenience of traveling abroad? Because of the passport visa-free countries, compared with mainland China, Hong Kong seems to be getting a tremendous advantage. So that ID card is not an ID card, the ID card has a symbolic meaning behind as a Hong Kong or Xinjiang. And the second one is want to see by having the textual analysis, they come up with a perspective that is to say the role of politics or aspects in the meaning construction process, especially how the text being described, presented, represent. One example is on Monday when New Hong Kong people replace old Hong Kong people, Hong Kong spirit disappeared. Actually, this is a kind of generations of fear, threat to Hong Kong people. So I want to see how language is to be used to produce the politics of effect. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Benson. And Samson?